When we think about big sauropod killers, we think about theropods like Giganotosaurus, T-Rex, Carcharodontosaurus. We don't necessarily think of an animal the size of Majungasaurus, but maybe we should. Hey everyone, Mike here with Prehistoric Magazine. Welcome back to another video. Now, just a quick reminder, I'd love to have you check out one of my prehistoric thriller books down in the comments section down below. Really helps this channel out. Also helps me on my quest of hopefully one day having one of my prehistoric thriller novels adapted and turned into movies. So thank you very much for that. Now, to the topic of this video, I'll be bluntly honest with you. I've always been fascinated by huge sauropods. I've always been fascinated by huge theropods. And the theropod known as Majungasaurus, late Cretaceous Madagascar, known of it probably since the end of the 90s. It's never really an animal on my radar. I knew about it. I knew it was a cannibal. I knew it was likely the top apex predator of its time due to the fact that these animals lived on an island and they were smaller had they actually lived back on the mainland, like let's say Africa. So this animal was an apex predator. I knew all of these things about it. Just, over the years, I maybe overlooked it a little bit, didn't give it as much respect as it should. Now, shout out to the YouTube channel called DinoGen. I'm linking that in the comment section down below for the inspiration to this video. He does great work. You guys should definitely check out his work. But, it's this idea that was Majungasaurus designed to take down sauropods like Rapidosaurus? Now, when planning for this video, I did a little bit of research back into Prehistoric Planet, and it makes me believe that I have a little bit of a regret that we see Majungasaurus, we see a herd of Rapidosaurs, and we do not see Majungasaurus attacking or even harassing the Rapidosaurs. That would have been really cool. Prehistoric Planet gave us that sense of realism and also the sense that predators likely did not succeed. And it would have been really cool to see maybe a small pack of Majungasaurs or even one Majungasaur harassing a Rapidosaur. Maybe not even taking one down, but just harassing one. Would have been really cool. And it leaves me with a little bit of regret that we didn't see that. No disrespect to Beelzebufo. The frog was amazing in its own right. And that was what was put with Rapidosaurus. So anyways, just a little bit of a regret. But, back to Majungasaurus. It was by no means a large theropod, but it probably was the top apex predator of its time. 26 feet in length, probably 2,000 pounds, 2,400 pounds. Good sized animal nonetheless. If you were to run into this animal, it's bigger than a polar bear. If we're thinking about the upper size ranges of this animal, bigger than a polar bear. So, the arms are almost non-existent, and the animal is actually quite a bit long considering that the legs are very short. So the length of the animal is pretty incredible considering that it's not really tall. I'm about 6'3". I'm assuming this animal probably may have looked me in the eye, but it was about 26 feet long, so had some length to it. Now, back to the topic of this video, the idea of being a sauropod killer. Now, it's these short legs that gave it this low center of gravity. And when hunting sauropods, a lot of scientists believe that speed wasn't necessarily involved. So if it did have these short legs, it gave it a low center of gravity and kind of an advantage when it was harassing or attempting to take down these Rapidosaurs. Now, Rapidosaurus, also living on this island of Madagascar, was kind of a relatively small sauropod by sauropod standards, but still big by modern day animal standards, about 49 feet in length, maybe somewhere around 10 tons in weight. So that would put it around a large elephant. Probably there are larger elephants than that, but weight-wise, it would be up there with the largest living land animal today. So that deserves some respect from us. 10 tons is nothing to sneeze at. But if you think about a 2-ton predator, taking down a 10-ton predator, that's only a 5-to-1 ratio as far as weight. So maybe the idea of, Mapusaurus taking down Argentinosaurus may be too great. The size difference between a 6-ton animal and an 80-ton animal is just the disparity is just too much. But 2,000-pound animal taking down a 10,000-pound animal, that sounds a little bit more believable. Maybe that was the case. We know that Majungasaurus had an extremely powerful neck. So it's this powerful neck that would have helped it in hunting. And scientists also believe that it may have hunted like a big cat, latching onto its prey maybe even the jugular, and just not letting go and potentially maybe even drowning it or just suffocating it to death. So again, latching on like a big cat, not letting go until the prey subdues. So now I just wanted to make this video to give a little bit of a shout out to Majungasaurus. It's an animal that potentially I overlooked. I overlooked this little guy, 26 feet long, 2,400 pounds, if you can consider an animal like that a little guy. But nonetheless, it really kind of gripped me, this idea that maybe it was a sauropod specialist. And in also doing some research for this video, we know that the late Cretaceous of Madagascar was very seasonal. There were obviously rains. Obviously, if there's no rain, there's no life, but it was very arid. Now, when the rains grew and expanded, probably the water sources, the rivers and the lakes also grew as well. There may have been a few swamps here and there, but the majority of the continent, the majority of that island would have been arid. Now, that leads me to think that, when times are tough in Africa, when times are tough, when there's times of drought, certain animals like a lion, they may be willing to take on more risk, like a pride of them trying to take down an elephant. So again, if we go back to 72 million years ago in Madagascar, we have these intense droughts. Maybe that forced prey to be a little bit more aggressive. Obviously, if you're a 2,400 pound animal, you can eat whatever you damn well please. Okay, and that's what prehistoric planet showed us. Showed us Majungasaurus attacking and eating a smaller animal. They did not bother the Rapidosaurs. The Rapidosaurs were in fact bothered by Beelzebufo. And while I do respect that, because it gave a sense of realism that just because you're a predator, you're not always going to be looking to take down the biggest thing in your environment, still leaves a little to be desired in that, if there were these immense droughts, these prolonged periods of no rain, may have possibly made the predators take more risk. Again, if you're taking down a 10,000 pound animal, there's no doubt risk involved. You could be maimed, you could be hurt, you could have a limb crushed, you could be killed. But, it's this sense of drought that maybe, just maybe, would have forced them to be more aggressive. And maybe, because this area is known to have prolonged periods of drought, maybe that's why they, over time kind of developed this idea of killing and hunting the Rapidosaur. So I'd love to hear your take on this. Do we think that Majungasaurus, with its short legs and its powerful neck and its size, was designed to take down a sauropod like Rapidosaurus? Love to hear you down in the comments section down below. Thank you for all the support on this channel. See you in the next video. Take care.